Mr. President.
The Democratic whip.
Mr. President, let me first thank my colleague from Rhode Island. I don't know how many years he's been delivering this message on the floor, but he has become the spokesperson for a cause that we all should share, to try to make certain that we address the deterioration of this planet that we live on, that our kids, our grandkids, and their children have a fighting chance against elements that they can't personally control. It's up to our generation, and Senator Whitehouse comes to the floor and reminds us on a regular basis our moral and economic and environmental responsibility. I thank him for his statement today, and I want to join him in one respect. Mr. President, last month, the Senate Parliamentarian analyzed the GAO's opinion ruling that some Senate Republicans cannot use the Congressional Review Act to overturn a waiver granted to California by the U.S. EPA to regulate its own vehicle emissions. I remember a time in the House and again in the Senate when we had a hearty debate here over miles per gallon and what was reasonable. And I remember the automobile industry saying that we shouldn't impose a standard that they could never live up to, never produce cars that meet that standard of the higher miles per gallon. I remember that California stepped out ahead of the rest of the nation and said, let us prove we can do it. Our economy is so big, you can't miss it if we succeed or if we fail. And they succeeded. They proved that if you create the right incentives, technology will move in that direction. And it has, successfully, when it comes to miles per gallon. Now Republicans have decided, with their new president, to attempt to block a California law requiring all new cars sold in the state by 2035 to be zero-emission vehicles. It's an ambitious goal. It's as ambitious as some of the MPG goals they set in earlier times. That's right. Despite the claims of the party of states' rights, Republicans want to end this state-level regulation in the state of California. And get this, Elon Musk, the unelected advisor to the president, previously wrote to the EPA in favor of California's waiver. Now he's joined the Republican majority to try to gut the rule. The parliamentarian's decision was not one of party loyalty. It followed decades of precedent showing that California's Clean Air Act waivers are not subject to the Congressional Review Act. Despite the parliamentarian's decision, my Senate Republican colleagues want to override the GAO and the Senate parliamentarian to advance the fossil fuel agenda. It's burn, baby, burn, drill, baby, drill. Now I understand that using the CRA might be faster than agency rulemaking or even considering legislation. Think about this. There was a time when we actually legislated on the floor of the United States Senate. I can vaguely remember it. It was so long ago. But rather than deal with legislation, hearings, public review of what we're all about, we have these shortcut methods that in some cases are disastrous. In fact, President Trump in his first term took administrative action to rescind California's Clean Air Act waivers and could take that path again. But what Republicans are pursuing today is a procedural nuclear option, a dramatic break from Senate precedent with a profound consequence. Let me repeat, should my Senate Republican colleagues overrule the Senate parliamentarian, it will have a major long-term impact for the Senate and the legislative filibuster. This move is unprecedented. The Senate has never overruled the parliamentarian regarding the CRA or allowing a bill to pass by majority vote. And before, when the tables were turned and the Senate Democrats were in the majority, my Republican colleagues were singing a very different tune about never breaking from the parliamentarian. Leader Thune himself acknowledged in January of this year that overruling the parliamentarian is, quote, totally akin to killing the filibuster. We can't go there, Leader Thune said. People need to understand that, end of quote. If Senate Republicans disregard the parliamentarian's decision, they would set a new precedent in the Senate, eliminating long-standing guardrails and paving the way for a future Senate majority to overrule the parliamentarian to achieve its partisan goals. I caution my Senate Republican colleagues from towing this line and setting the wrong precedent. And as I've said time and time again, there cannot be one set of rules for the Republicans in the Senate and another set of rules for the Democrats. I hope my Republican colleagues will heed my warning and make the right choice. the only choice. Accept the GAO and the Senate parliamentarian's decision. Mr. President, I yield the floor.